Hi, Armoured Pants here, and I have another review for you in the Russian line. This is the Tier 8 Heavy Premium Tank, the KV5. And as always, we will have a look at the tech spec first using blitzhanger.com. Now, I have to say, I like this tank. I think it's a very good premium tank, an excellent premium tank, in fact. 170% credit coefficient, and that's where we buy premiums, to earn credits, right? And it is really a classic heavy. It's slow, cumbersome, but it has great armor. I mean, the armor is Troll. Relative armor numbers are insane on this tank, and we'll have a look at that when we look at the armor profile. There are two possible gun variations. Obviously, use the top gun. It's 107mm. We obviously want to maximize muzzle velocity, so we're going to get up to 1365 meters per second. Using supercharger, we're going to use refined gun to minimize penetration loss over distance. We can see that with the heat rounds, pen goes up to from 219 to 250, and there's even 54mm of pen on the HE round, so don't forget to load that up. You can use it on light tanks and the back and sides of mediums. 7 degrees of gun depression, which is not bad for a Russian heavy tank. Because it's so tall, actually, you can get into interesting positions and fire over cover. It does have slow traverse though, so be careful, don't get isolated in this out in the open. Make sure that you can back up, and then you're going to be very difficult to pen, because when you look at this armor, it is wowzer. It is Troll in every sense of the word. This is like a battleship on tracks. It is just extremely difficult to pen. It doesn't really have any vulnerable parts. It's like a rock monster. It doesn't really have a vulnerable section to it. You can see here, if you're side scraping, you know, it's just impossible to pen if you're side scraping, if you get those positions right. You see here, look at this classic side scraping position. On the sides and back, it also has armor. Look at this. So if you are in a light tank and you come up on the side of this, you're still going to get bounces, particularly if you're in something like, let's say, a 1357 or 1375 or even a MX 1390. Really, this is top and butt here is the only vulnerable part. You're going to be bouncing your shots off this a lot. You can see you can reverse side scrape. The only vulnerable part is really that top section of the butt, as we said. And if you can hide that, you can reverse side scrape all day long. And this is just Troll. I mean, even for a heavy tank, it's just a monster. You can see here, if you're top tier, forget about it. You can just push on into the enemy, bully them. Even if against tier 8s, and even against tier 9s, it's still difficult to pen this tank. If you've ever fought against one, you'll know it's really tough to pen, even if you're a tier 9. You can see here the historical reference. It was being made actually during the siege of Leningrad in 1941. When you consider that people actually were eating children during that siege, they were so hungry. It's quite remarkable that they actually had resources to continue to make and to work on new tank specifications. And you'll see here that actually eventually they even upgraded the engine before its final line of production. Now, in terms of tactics, this is a typical heavy tank. If you watch the heavy tank guide that we have on channel, you'll see it gives some information on the role of a heavy tank, what a heavy tank should do and how it should behave during the game. And this tank is perfect for that. Going to a strategic position, seizing that strategic position, anchoring the enemy there while your meds and lights do their work. This tank is ideal for that. And you're going to see exactly those tactics used in this game. Here is Mayan Runes, and I am actually tier 8 in a tier 9 game, so there's a few tier 9s in this. So what I do is I check the setup, and you know, because of the tank I'm in, I just decide to push towards A. And what I want to do is I want to anchor, I want to seize a strategically important position on that map, anchor the enemy there, anchor their heavies down. I want to get into a side scraping position so that I can just use this armor. Also, the 107mm gun has good pen and it has a decent reload as well. So therefore you can actually inflict quite a bit of damage. You know, it's a less than 10-second reload, it's 9.85 seconds. So you can actually put in some decent damage onto the enemy. The DPM is quite good on this tank, and the effective DPM so if you look at the actual DPM versus the theoretical DPM on this tank, it's quite good because it has decent pen numbers, 219mm of pen on your standard AP rounds, so you can do a lot. Of damage. Let's see here, the gun is actually quite good. The gun handling is pretty good because it's not a huge caliber gun. Okay, 107mm is decent, but it's not a huge gun. Like, it's not a 1-2 gun like on the KV4. It's not like, you know, big gun like on the IS-6, etc. So you can see the gun handling is better than it is on other Russian heavies. You can see even just snapping one off into this red here, and then we clear him off. So good solid heavy tank play from me. I'm in a really good side scraping position here. I'm going to pushing out to see if there's any new targets. Nobody there, so I am going to then cap A, which we need to do because, as you can see, the enemy has capped B and C already, although my allies are taking C now. So really good solid heavy tank play there, going to a strategic point on the map, seizing that position, going into a side scraping position, and then inflicting some damage onto the enemy as well, then capping. So all a good start to the game for me as a heavy tank, and a good solid heavy tank sort of role being played. Now popping one into the IS-6 there, and you can see that that's why the additional muzzle velocity is so important, because you can make shots like that one on the IS and this one on the T49. The gun is far more accurate and reliable when you increase the muzzle velocity, because, as we discussed before, muzzle velocity is squared in the formula for armor penetration. So therefore, increasing your muzzle velocity gives you an exponentially better chance of penetrating the enemy. And that's physics, it's mathematics, and that far outweighs your opinion or somebody else's opinion, because if you're subscribing to this channel, you are probably already aware of that, and you're probably also an extremely intelligent and discerning individual. So what I decided to do is going to cap B because we are base down, so cap that off, and then we're going to push on and try to engage the enemy again. You can see here that we are already 3 minutes into the game, and I actually haven't been penned at all yet. Now this is what I mean again about this gun. This 107 gun is pretty good for a Russian heavy tank. You can see there just a really, really nice shot. And again, we see nice reload on this tank. And the gun is just really accurate, because this is a nice shot coming up here, clear him off. And now I'm trying to angle up, making it difficult for the enemy to pen me. And I'm going to push on up here, trying to engage some more targets. And now so you can see here that the tank is not so maneuverable. I was trying to get into position there. You can see it is a bit cumbersome, but it is slow moving. But the armor kind of compensates for that. There isn't really, as I said, it's a rock monster. There isn't really a vulnerable part to it. So you can just pump shots out like that and get bounces. Now I got penned there by the T54 because I had my back to him, but now it's a different ball game. Now when I'm front onto him, he's finding it difficult to pen. And we see there, just on that shot there, I snap one into him and he can't pen me. He gets himself into all sorts of trouble here, right into a pickle. And he does the right thing there, he's giving me angles on his armor. But because I have this troll front armor, I just push onto him and I back him into a corner here. He really should have tried to get around me. And you can see him just popping rounds into that vulnerable part of his cupola there. And now he's just squashed. He can't get away. He is just screwed. And there we go, one straight into the top of his cupola again, and the turret, and it's game over. And you can see he was complaining there, just saying that that is just a bit unfair. But you know, you really shouldn't let a tank like this push onto you. Mastery badge, over 3.3k of damage, 4 kills. So I get top gun, high caliber from that game, which also contributed towards the mastery, and a bit of a carry, twice as much damage as the next player. You can see here we damaged 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the enemy tanks. So 6 out of 7. That also gives you a lot of XP. You can see here, we look at the XP, assistance to allies, active actions, etc., all delivering significant XP, which delivers the Mastery Badge, and as I said, Top Gun. And Master Gunner, I didn't go high caliber Master Gunner. So there we go, and you can see XP over 1.5k of base XP from that game. So really good, solid, heavy tank play. So let's have a recap of the key points of this tank, which I really like. I think it's a great premium tank. By the way, it's also a decent price when it's for sale. It's around 25 US dollars, 21 euros, about 18 pounds, which is not bad at all. 170% credit coefficient, not the top, which is the low with 190%, but pretty good. The armor is just awesome. It's Troll. By the way, the KV5 sometimes comes up in chests, etc., sometimes in events, etc., if it's not for sale for gold or for money. And I got mine actually in a chest at Christmas time. We see there 107mm gun, 9.98 second reload, and 260mm pen on it, doing 320 to 400 damage per round. So the actual effective damage in this thing is pretty good, as you saw in that game. And it's a side scraping monster. The relative armor numbers are just awesome. They're off the charts. And as I said, the actual DPM versus the theoretical DPM is great on this. And the pen maximizes that. Use supercharge and refine gun so you can make those shots from distance as we made. And this gun then is quite accurate, very good handling, and much better than many other Russian heavies. And if you're top tier, go front line, you have the armor. But even if you're not, as you saw in that game, you can just push on. And steel wall medals are going to come in this thing. It's a beast. As I said, it's a battleship on tracks. It's just a monster of a tank. It is slow. It has slow traverse, of course, so just be careful. Just be aware of those limitations. But you know, that armor allows you to push on and to really bully tanks, as I did with the T-54 there. So cheers Mush, thanks for watching. I hope you found it useful, I hope you found it enjoyable, and if you get a chance, get a KV5, you won't regret it. Pants off.